everybody, welcome back with another episode of the Wild Cabin Podcast. We're gonna get into something. We're gonna get into a deep topic, and I brought in a special guest, as I promised on season 3. I brought in the lovely Monica. She is a very important part of the community, and truly, wholeheartedly, if she was not here supporting me at the beginning, I may not have been doing this, or Twitch, or YouTube at all. So please introduce yourself. What do you do, and who are you?
Hey there, my name is Monica. I'm currently a college student studying computer information systems, but I also love having the opportunity to support smaller creators and being able to support anyone in any way that I possibly can.
She has one of the biggest hearts I personally know of, and when she joined my community, what would you say, about maybe 2 years ago?
It was actually in July.
Jesus. I have no idea. Really?
It was, I think the 3D All-Stars collection had just stopped selling.
Oh, okay.
And
Jeez.
I was looking for Sunshine players on Twitch, and you had come up.
Unfortunately, I've come up. Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
Shut it.
No. Oh, wow. Yeah, no. Okay. So, I mean, it's been shorter than I thought, but wow. But truly, wholeheartedly, we have pretty much kept in contact on and off because our busy schedule. And you could say, honestly, I basically surprised you with this episode, didn't I?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
I got the message saying, are you free now?
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, 12 minutes ago, and here we are getting recording.
Yep, pretty much. Be like, hey, do you have a topic in mind? And you said I put you on the spot, and then I'm just like, what? How could I torture her quicker? And I'm just like, okay, you're gonna be on the podcast now. And I'm just like, okay. But I feel like, personally, wholeheartedly, I admire your journey. If you want to explain a little bit, how are you in the LGBTQ community, excuse me?
Yeah, so I identify as a transgender lesbian. I came out as transgender in I think it was April of 2019, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was April of 2019. And
don't be shy. It's okay. Okay.
And one of the obstacles that I was coming over when I was identifying as transgender was figuring out my sexuality as a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
Was I straight? Because I knew I was into girls,
mm-hmm.
but I didn't know if that meant I was straight because I was born male at birth, or if it meant that I was a lesbian because I identify as a woman.
Exactly.
And that process took probably close to 6 months at the very least alone. And in the LGBT community, that can be considered a bit on the quicker side, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think that's super quick. I think that's super quick, and it takes some people years to figure it out. And you know, what really made you decide, like, so you had a sexuality toward women, but the hard part was, are you a female inside? Was that really the problem?
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. I identified as a cross-dresser
mm-hmm.
In probably 2013 or so.
Wow. So still pretty young.
Although, that being said, that was before I knew the terminology. I didn't figure out that term until probably 2016 or 17.
Wow, so 3-4 years later. Wow. If you don't mind me asking, where'd you get the other clothing from?
Yeah, so it started off, and I feel like I'm going to call out a lot of transgender women, but that's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
I started borrowing my sister's clothes behind her back.
Oh, perfect. Mm-hmm.
And I often got caught by my parents about me having my sister's clothes.
Damn, both parents.
Yes.
Damn.
And I would oftentimes have to come up with excuses.
What's the excuse that fell on you?
Yeah.
And by all means, I admire you, but I'm very curious with the excuses. Be like, they fell from the sky and they're on me now.
In my defense, quite frankly, I had so when you put it like that,
yeah, I'm like, what kind of excuse could you possibly have? And I'm like, it had to be a good one, or at that time, maybe you were young and your parents thought, oh, it's an experimental phase, maybe.
Yeah, so I frequently caught myself saying, "Oh, I just want to see how it would look on me if I held it up to me."
Oh, okay.
I don't think they bought that for a second, but said whatever.
Yeah, but you were, like I said, you were young. So I mean, maybe they're like, oh, okay, but go on.
It wasn't until, again, 2016, 2017 that I had asked my parents if I could get some women's clothes of my own. So at this point, this is like 4 or 5 years.
Okay, like I'm gonna pause right there. I give holy hell. You just basically just walked up to him and you're like, hey, look, can I just have some women's clothes of my own? I don't want to hide myself. Like, is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
Okay. I give you so much respect for that. Wholeheartedly. I was gonna say, damn, you have balls, but I mean, I don't think that joke works there. But I give you
a pair to you.
Yeah, I mean, I give you so much more respect, because I didn't know that, by the way. If you are just listening, I count Monica as a dear friend of mine, but a lot of stuff I didn't know. That you have so much more of respect, because you basically just said, fuck it, I'm not hiding myself. I want to talk to my parents. Hey, can I have some female clothing of my own? A lot of people would hide themselves or be ashamed, but you're just like, oh, fuck it, I want to do this. I give you respect, but please do continue.
Well, again, this is over the span of 4 to 5 years, so I'm having a hard time hiding it when I've been caught multiple times.
Yeah, I got you.
I've tried hiding clothes in every place whatsoever, and didn't work out well.
Where was your best place of hiding, if you don't mind me asking?
I've hidden it under my bed. I've hidden it in a drawer in my desk. I've hidden some, like, in my closets.
Not very good hiding spot.
Okay, I was young, in your words.
You were, but damn, like, so at this point, I grew up in a very small town. I had a very strict father who was very abusive. Did you have any problems like that? Because my parents they're still concerned about the LGBTQ. Were your parents accepting? Were they abusive, if you don't mind me asking? Like, what was the process for you? Or since you were so direct, they're just like, oh, Monica basically said they wanted female clothing. I'm like, we gotta accept it or we don't. What did you feel like in that scenario?
So, I was hoping that, obviously I wasn't expecting an immediate response like, yeah, we can go get clothes right now.
Yeah, let's all go to Victoria's Secret. Hell yeah.
first off, because it was like 8:39 p.m. and like my parents were getting ready for bed, I have an uncanny ability to get them when they're about to go to sleep.
Smart, fucking smart. Take notes, kids. Take notes, or adults. Take notes. Get your parents while they're tired. Cool, got it.
And so I talked to them, and they said we should probably get you in to see a therapist first before we make any decisions.
That's the fucking worst. Because I've been in the therapist route for many things. It just makes you feel like shit. Something's wrong with you. Like, hey, we gotta go get help. At least that was my opinion. How'd you feel about that?
So my therapist at the time was fairly understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But you could tell that he was struggling.
Oh wow. Okay.
But he was sort of paid to understand it, so he just went with it.
Yeah, I mean, what could they really say? Be like, this isn't normal. Back in the day, they would tell you, oh, that's deranged or that's wrong. But now, do you think this... I know this may sound silly, but in your views, do you think parents have become more understanding with their children being gay or transgender? In your opinion, not like saying like every family, but do you think it's more accepting now, or do you think the older generation still doesn't comprehend that?
So I think that older generations have definitely gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say that it's all the way there, though.
Oh, I would never say it's all the way there. Absolutely not.
Like it mostly comes down to how they themselves were raised.
Absolutely. I think you hit the nail right on the head right there.
So my parents were raised fairly Christian,
mm-hmm.
and but weren't necessarily as much of... Bible thumper doesn't feel like the right word, but
I got you.
For lack of a better word.
Okay.
Like they didn't live by the Bible as much as some other people.
Okay, but that's the route that they want to live to a certain extent. Got it.
So a lot of parents who have issues understanding like LGBTQ plus rights
mm-hmm.
Typically stems from religious contexts.
Oh, absolutely. I think so too. 1,000%.
The Bible has mistranslations of saying man should not sleep with man, saying that trans is wrong and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes down to a matter of perspective. How much do you treat the Bible as a guideline or as a rule book?
Exactly.
Or do you even have religious beliefs?
Exactly. Some people just say they're Christian and they do whatever the fuck they want. Now are you ready for a hard-hitting question?
Yes.
I love that side. Be like, I've talked about this many times in the podcast, and some people still don't quite understand it. I'm getting emails about it still, this problem, and I wanted another head in the game. We come from two different mindsets, and you're one of the best people that I'm like, I could ask this question. I believe love is love via man, woman, man, woman, man, and everything in between. I don't comprehend why people are still shitting on other people on whom they love. Okay, I feel like the strict thing is just it's human with human, you know, that with human and dogs, it's a different love in that way, but love is love. I think there's certain levels, but what do you have to say to that? You know, I would assume that you agree love is love, but how do you, what do you, in your mind, when you hear that, what do you think? You know, what is your love when somebody says love is love? What do you say to that, except you agree?
Yeah, so uh wow.
No, it's
Um
a hard-hitting question, and that's why I've talked about it before.
yeah, so love is love. I feel like the main issue with that
Mm-hmm.
is that it's often looked at from a sexuality standpoint.
Elaborate more so people understand.
So we often, at least nowadays, we hear more about woman woman and woman relationships, male and male relationships, male and female relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That's more like gender oriented.
Absolutely, yes. Mm-hmm.
The issues that I see a lot, I see people run into a lot, and a movie that I recently watched, fairly recently, uh, should have watched it earlier, but The Hate You Give
Mm-hmm.
also highlights this. But interracial relationships also seem to have a bit of an issue with that, and uh, seems to be missed out whenever people say love is love.
Really? Okay. I didn't even think of that. I thought that more as the racist card, where two races should not intertwine. You know, I find that very interesting that you say that, because for me that sort of slipped my mind, where I don't, like, it sounds corny as fuck, but I just don't see color anymore.
Yeah.
I really don't. um like, because for me, I don't like, excuse my language, but this is such a heartfelt topic. I don't give a fuck if you're white, purple, black, pink, or ramen. You know, if you have my respect, you have my respect. I don't truly think race defines the person. It's how you get treated and how you want to be treated. You know, that's, I think that's why I've been so open in the community, where I'm just like, look, I don't give a shit if you're straight, bi, lesbian, trans, whatever the factor may be. You know, if you're nice to me, I want to be nice to you. That's just how I am. But in my understanding, I don't think a lot of people are still like that, if I'm going to be honest. My father definitely is, sure as hell is still in like the 70s or 60s when he grew up, and that's why he doesn't comprehend, you know, the community, the LGBT. Like, he's still one of those old-timey farts, no, where he's just like, I don't give a shit, you know. And I'm like, that it was such a big thing in the household. But it's hard. But also, I grew up in a small town. We had one African American in my whole school, one African American, and for 4 years straight, we had one African American. Then at the end of high school, when I moved back, we had a total of 5 African Americans. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying by that. My my elementary middle school,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm from, it's a city of maybe like, I don't think it's more than like 20,000 people.
Okay, so we were almost in the same boat. Mine was like 12,000 at the time.
I could look it up, but I'm not
No,
going
no,
to.
no,
I
no.
think it
That's fine.
was about like 20,000 or something like that. Anyway, uh, the elementary middle school that I went to consisted. Uh, there was maybe about 300 people
Mm-hmm.
across kindergarten to eighth grade, maybe even pre-K to eighth, and
Mm-hmm.
including staff.
Damn.
So it was small.
Holy shit.
My
Wow.
graduating class had, uh, I think it was like 25 people.
Mm-hmm. That's insane.
1 Mexican, 1 African American, 23 white.
Wow. No Asians at all?
No.
Wow. We had one, and a one that I remember, and I want to give a special shout out to Matthew Guzzo. That he was such a nice guy. You know, I wish him well. And I put my shoes in their topic, my feet in their shoes, because I highly believe it must have been fucking hard for them, being the only African American, being one of the only Asians, and it had to be hard because you're in a swamp with fucking, I was gonna say fish, but that analogy is piss. But I mean, it had to be hard.
Oh yeah, I can imagine how being one of 2 people in a minority,
Exactly.
like within a class,
Mhm.
or I can see
Absolutely.
how that would be really difficult, and
In a lot of cases.
yeah.
And you know how I put it is, you know, you take that same putting your foot in somebody else's shoes, and then you put back, because you know I was more of the generation where a lot of more people were coming out because more celebrities became in the LGBTQ community, so it became more all right and accepted. And you know, for the people that are hiding, you know, their sexuality or figuring it out as they go, for me, I want to say it's completely natural. You know, you gotta go through the phases, you gotta understand yourself. No, it could take years, it could take months, but it's a decision that only ultimately you can make, and you got to stick by that. What do you have to say to those people that, you know, maybe they don't fully understand themselves, or they have questions, maybe they feel bad about themselves, you know, maybe being a cross-dresser or anything out there? What would you have to say?
So what I have to say to that is, at least coming from a transgender perspective,
Mm-hmm.
my first sign that I was transgender was when I was about 8 years old.
Damn.
Now,
Holy
that
hell.
being said, that was me as basically a little kid just being playful, playing with their sister who was their little sister.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
trying to make them happy.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I turned 19 about half a month ago,
Congratulations.
and I still am not entirely 100% sure how far I want to go in with my transition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've been on estrogen for 5 or 6 months, I want to say, and hormone blockers on 9.
Mm-hmm.
It is fairly cheap to uh experiment.
Mm-hmm.
You can get, if you were to go to Walmart or another cheap store that will have clothes, you can come out with like a feminine appearing outfit
Mm-hmm.
for about $50.
And not knowing from experience, maybe try Amazon, because if you don't like it, you could return it. That's somebody told me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Monica told me before the show, but absolutely. But I just admire you in so many ways. I truly do. I truly do, because you know, going young, I mean, my parents, my mother at one point thought I was gay because I had Max Steel action figures. And you don't know what Max Steel are. Get the hell out of here. There's no way you know what those are. But I used to take the clothes off of them.
Okay, I can see where she would think that then.
Yeah, like, I'm a curious person. I'm like, my first question was like, I got a Max Steel. He had like flexing glowing muscles, which I thought was the shit in like Toys R Us or something. And I got it home one day and I just started ripping the clothes off, and I brought the doll or the action figure, there's a difference, to my mom. And I was very young at the time, and I asked her, where's his penis? And she's like, she was baffled by the question. Because if people don't know, this is one of my favorite stories ever. I'm still a curious guy. When I was probably about 6 or 7, I got a dictionary and I looked up the word sex. And at a very young age, I knew what that was. And the definition, I will remember clear as day. If you don't know, Monica, you could cover your ears. But the penis is lodged into the vagina. That is the definition at that time in that dictionary. So I was very curious. I'm like, okay, what's the difference between me and a female? Oh, I have a penis, they have a vagina. And cause for whatever banal reason, I was a very stupid kid at a young age. And I'm like, where's his penis? And it just boggled me. I'm like, oh, fuck, I think my son's gay. And immediately the next week, I was enrolled in baseball. And I mean, I truly think certain parents are afraid of their child being gay, or their son, being gay and not continuing the lifeline. Because I'm the last wild left. If I don't have kids, I'm screwed. But or that's what my dad says. It's just like, well, we don't have a lifeline now, and that puts a lot of pressure on like men, especially. So I'm just curious. Also, on a random note, just showing my stupidity, and I think you'll get a laugh at this. You remember the cartoon Ben 10, right?
Yeah, who doesn't?
The original Omnitrix, which was a toy. The show's about a kid that could transform into 10 different aliens. It was cool as shit. I bought an Omnitrix at like maybe Walmart. I can't remember the store. And I put it on my wrist, and I ripped open the packaging at the store, and I slammed on Diamond Head, and I really thought I was gonna turn into a fucking alien, by the way. And I'm like, wow, I just wasted $20 on a thing that doesn't work. Oh man, I was a dumb kid.
I mean, how old were you during this?
I think probably around 13, maybe 12. I'm like, I didn't know, man. I was all alone at a toy store. Man, I was dumb. I mean, whatever year Ben 10 came out, because that was the year. And I'm like, I want to turn into Exhilarate. Oh, that's my favorite alien. I'm like, nope, I didn't get super speed, but need to say the less. It's crazy. What?
I mean,
oh, go ahead.
I thought that if I waved my arms fast enough, I would just fly. So.
Oh man, all right. I don't know which one's worse. You decide in the comments. But I want to leave. I want to leave it at this. Who, Monica, and this could be yourself, but I want the people to know, because I truly think having support really defines a person. Who is your biggest motivation, if you had one, or maybe more accepting when you came out as trans and began the process? Who was your biggest supporter? Besides myself, obviously.
Oh.
I'd be like, you fucking weren't it. But I'm just curious.
No, that is so. The first person that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna avoid giving out their name just for their.
No,
privacy.
you could say a friend or a family member, whatever they are.
But I had a friend that I talked to, and at the time they were identifying as a lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, and so I came out to them saying, "Hey, I think I'm transgender. I'm not for sure though."
Mm-hmm.
And they helped me so much figure out my sexuality,
Mm-hmm.
figure out my gender identity.
Mm-hmm.
was willing to be as flexible as I was asking because I wasn't ready. They were, I think, the first person that I'd come out to other than my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And needless to say, I was very concerned about how it was going to turn out.
You were very curious or scared?
I was scared, yeah, because I'd come out to my parents and they're like, when I first discovered I was transgender, I'd come out to my parents, and their reaction was kind of crap.
Oh, I bet. I bet. And by all means, if you want to dive in detail how it was crap, I'm sure a lot of people are experiencing the same thing. Parents shooting them down, saying no, you're not. You know, you are the only person to know what you are. Point blank. You're the only person how to know what you are, feel, etc. But if you want to divulge in, by all means, because it's one of the most common problems that a lot of trans people have, gay, lesbian, everything. So by all means, if you want to, or if not, talk about more of your motivation.
Yeah, I would do the the face of it, more or less, so I don't get distracted. But came out to my mom, and she knew that. So at this point, I had been fairly comfortable identifying as a cross-dresser for probably a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Like 1, maybe 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad and I have had like conflict even outside of my gender nonconformity.
Oh, I bet, you know.
And my mom knew that I wasn't that comfortable talking to my dad, especially about this type of stuff. But I asked her if I could talk with her, and I came out to her as transgender, saying, "Hey, Mom, I think I might be trans. That being said, I don't know I'm not ready to make any decisions yet. I don't know what I want to call myself. I don't know what pronouns I want, but I think I might be transgender." And I found out within 24 hours that my dad had figured out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, parents aren't stupid.
And when you've only ever come out to one person, it's easy to figure out who that person was.
Oh, absolutely. But isn't it the first person the hardest person, and then after that it could become easier and easier? Or is it still consistently hard?
At this point, I have no issue.
Okay, I was gonna say, you're on a podcast.
I mean, I had my name legally changed in June.
Yeah,
and I fought my school saying, no, my name needs to be Monica.
Mm-hmm.
Fix it now.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it did eventually get easier, but it probably because of my experience coming out to my parents, it was the first 3 or 4 or so, I'd say, got harder with each one.
Really? Wow.
And I think it was part of it. I think it was the anticipation. I really do think part of it was the anticipation
on how they're gonna react.
Yes.
Interesting. Because I always put it as, no matter what, your parents are still your parents. You could lose friends just like that in a snap of a finger. So they're either gonna accept you or you're not. That's how my brain is, though. You know, if you don't accept it, fuck off. But I understand people don't want to lose friends, but that's just my mindset.
Yeah.
So your best friend was your biggest motivation. Any other ones? Because I mean, you are like your biggest supporter, and like I said, that's why I admire you, because you you want to go on this journey, and you knew it too. You're just like, I don't feel comfortable in my skin. I want to change this. I want to feel comfortable in my skin. Did I hit it on the nail on the head?
Basically, yeah.
Now, the last question before we roll it up, we have 5 minutes or so, is personally, has, besides your physical form, do you think your mindset has changed, or attitude going through this process? I know that's a hard question, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's an awkward question, but I think I can respond to it.
I'd hope so.
So, one of the hardest obstacles of transitioning, I would say, is the social transition.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, in fact, I would say that is the hardest part of transitioning. Because you go from a facade that you've had on for so many years,
Mm-hmm.
and then you suddenly change it.
Yeah, you're just like, this is me now.
Fortunately, when I was socially transitioning, my workplace was very nice about it and very helpful about it.
And which is amazing, by the way. Very rare.
Which is ironic for a Walmart.
Yeah, hey. No, I've seen crazy. I've seen some crazy shit at Walmart, especially the employees.
That's a story for another day.
Yeah, tune in next week for stories about Walmart. But
no, I digress. But eventually, I had gotten a few pairs of leggings,
mm-hmm.
and I think actually, and so at that point, I had started transitioning or dressing more feminine with my friends.
Oh, coming out of your shell. I got you.
Yeah, but I couldn't go to work dressed feminine unless I had a dress on, or I had a dress on or a skirt that went past the knee, or I had jeans on.
Interesting. I didn't know
so
that.
So I couldn't wear leggings.
Which is a shame. Leggings are the best thing on the planet.
They are.
I didn't expect that comment. Okay. But so the only thing that you really saw change in during this transition was the way that you dressed?
Yeah.
So no mindset changes at all?
So part of it sort of fed each other, really.
Okay.
One day, I think I was like, I think I had realized that I had a set of clothes that were appropriate for work, and I was like, on my name tag it says Monica already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to dress feminine and see how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at this point I had also just gotten a wig.
Oh, whoa! Really?
So I was.
You were.
So with that,
you were dived right in.
I was like, I think I can go to work appearing fairly feminine.
Damn, I give you credit.
And oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it amazes me more and more how your journey, because you basically said fuck it, I'm in it to win it, basically.
Like, I had set a goal for me that I wanted to by the time I was like out of the closet,
mm-hmm.
This was 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So it was during peak COVID.
Oh, awesome. Mm-hmm.
And I wanted a goal for me to be able to go into school being able to identify as Monica.
And being your true self.
Yes. I'd set a goal for me that I wanted to be able to have a homecoming and prom as Monica.
Damn. we'll talk about school another episode.
That didn't happen.
Well, I never went to
because of
prom.
other factors.
Oh boy. So we could go a little long. We'll go 5 more minutes or so. This is the serious last question. This is the serious last question, because I talked about this as well. I personally believe everybody should have goals, a short term and a long term. For your process, what was the time frame that you put yourself on, and what was the goal, and do you still have a goal with your current process or transition?
Yeah, so my goal was, again, when I first started socially transitioning, was for me to be able to go to school comfortable as Monica, and for me to be able to go to homecoming or prom as Monica. I can say that I did one of those and I couldn't do the other because of school.
Fair enough.
And after that, I realized that I am a goal-oriented person.
Same here.
So once I had met that goal, I was trying to figure out what's the next step in the transition.
Which is?
And so my look at it was get started on hormones. And I had gotten on hormone blockers, and I think it was March, if I'm not mistaken. March or April. The actual month is leaving my mind, but it was in early 2021.
Gotcha.
And once I had gotten my hormone blockers, I basically said that goal was done. And I made my next goal my name change.
Damn, and you knocked it all.
And I finished that in June. Now, my next goal, I quite frankly don't know.
It is finish college.
As an education goal, yes. But as a transition goal, my long-term goal is to be able to get for me to be able to get bottom surgery.
I like how you said you're like, how could I phrase this?
Okay,
No, it's fine. I love it.
Now, as for short-term goals, one of my short-term goals is for me to work on my voice more, make it sound more feminine.
Like this. Hi, how's it going? Perfect.
It has gotten more androgynous since I started socially transitioning.
Oh, I'm sure. Who knows? Maybe the next time you'll be on the podcast, you'll work it out. You never know. Only time will tell. But time is coming up, unfortunately. We did go a little over, but that's okay. I'm sorry to put it to a sudden stop. I'm sure.
No, it's okay. I was basically wrapped up anyway.
I'm sure you'll be on again, because we did cover some hard, deep topics. I mean, I just want to say, make sure you feel comfortable in your own skin. It may take some time, but have an idea. Work on yourself, and if other people don't accept you in your life, fuck them. Not like that, but just push them away. You don't need that toxicity. It's eventually going to happen, but find the support that you need, and there's tons of outlets out there. And without further ado, the wonderful Monica, you could find her at her YouTube, which is
majoryoshi, and same goes for Twitch.
Twitch.tv majoryoshi. That'll be in the description down below. And if you want her coming back, because I'm sure this is a very deep topic and does affect a lot of people, please do send me an email at Mr. joewild@yahoo.com. And it truly was a pleasure, Monica. For me putting you on the spot, I feel like it did sound good.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been an honor. But without further ado, is there any last things that you would like to say before we end the podcast?
Not that I can think of, but guys, just know if you are having a hard time with your transition, I've met several people here at college who have said them going to college was the best thing they could have done for them for transitioning. And while some of you may be in college or after college, I don't know where you all are in your life, but sometimes the opportunity will come to you. You just need to be ready for it.
Got it. That's your last statement you want to go out on?
Yes.
Nice. All right, that's the last statement she wants to go out on. This has been the Wild Cabin Podcast. I hope you're happy because you made me happy. Take care, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.